Back again, same time, same place. Yes, it's me. Who would have thought I would be back here again today? Dragons in the background. I forgot to mention those. 3D printed those from a little lad. I'm going to be painting them over the next couple of weeks and getting them in some bell jars for him. I'm really looking forward to that. He likes Tiamat. He likes Bahamut. Can't really say no, can you? They're very cool. But speaking of 3D printers, that's what I'm going to talk about mostly today. Based off of something that my little one said. He seems to have developed something of an interest. I don't know where he's got it from, to be honest. It's one of those strange things that I guess kids just pick up and you're just like, well, where have you got that from? And he came up to me and he said, Dad, can we make something on the computer and then print it out? To which I was like, obviously, yes, because dragons and such. But then he started to talk about little bits and pieces that you would like to make. Now, I've got a resin printer at the moment. I've had a couple of FDM printers in the past, but the time required to it's a hobby in itself, and there is a lot of messing about sometimes. Or there was a lot of messing about back then. However, now you can get pretty much high reliability printers for a couple of £100. Self-contained, that's the main thing that I'm concerned about, because space for me to put something like that now is somewhat limited. And I want to make sure it's safe for him, but I want him to be able to see something being printed out and it going through the process, actually creating something, so we can sit together and build something, but I want to do it in a safe manner. So I've been researching something that's coming out. There's been a couple of units that are of interest. If anybody's watching or keeping up with what's happening in 3D space, there was the Bamboo Labs, which were really, really popular for a time, and there's been some issues around their licensing. They're pretty much plug and play setup, but it's all proprietary. And like I say, there've been some issues around the licensing of when you print something out, who owns what, and all of this stuff. The other one I've been looking at is an entry level Elegoo. So the new one that came out about a month or so back, and is now out of stock everywhere, is still at the offer price of £300, £299. The Centauri Carbon, looking for delivery at the end of August or something like that. It's not like I'm in a rush for it, so I'm thinking perhaps that might be the one that I go for. The reviews are pretty good on it. I mean, for using it with a little one, so that's the primary driver for it, and it is all literally self-contained, so I can load the files onto it for him. He can watch it being printed out. It's got a camera on the inside. Yes, there are issues with the lighting and stuff. I can fix that. Not a problem. But for that amount of money, for kind of what we want to do it for, I want to encourage him to do that sort of thing. And if he has got an interest in it, then that is something that I'm very eager to encourage, considering where in Yorkshire we live and it not being the best city. I still like it here, but I want to give him all of the advantages that I can possibly give him to give him a kickstart in life. And if that means having to get rid of some stuff to make some space and be able to afford something like that, if he's got an interest in it, to make sure that he's all right further down the line, and I can nurture his interest in STEM, then that's something that I absolutely have to do. It's something that my parents did for me, with my interest in computers and stuff. I'm sure as a child you don't see the compromises that your parents have to make to provide the things that you want. You just see the good parenting, don't you? So doing something like that, I think, is what I want to do for him there. But it's been really interesting how he's kind of really picked up on things, and he's starting to develop a sense of understanding with functional parts, which is something that I can't do with this sort of thing printed with resin. It's fragile. It's not really meant for playing with children, that sort of thing. Yes, I know I can get different kinds of resin and stuff, but I mean, it's very poisonous for one thing. And I don't want him like licking it or anything like that. and it's nice to look at, but as a 3.5-year-old, they want to touch, feel, interact with things. So I think going back to FDM is probably the way forward. And then there's the practical uses as well. But that's what I was talking about. He is starting to understand like the practical implementations of having like levers and cogs. That's, you can see that kind of is becoming something that is understanding. And if we can see the CAD model of something interacting and then create the physical aspect of it, even if it's not going to work, that iterative process of having a problem, finding a solution, trying a solution, it not working and coming back to it is something that I definitely want to encourage. This it working first time mentality, something being easy, regardless of it being printers or anything like that. I want to encourage him that easy is not the way. You've got to go through the failures to get to the successes. That is something that I absolutely need to encourage in him, because I see it in a lot of the younger generation at work. Even in the professional level, that younger millennial generational shift in mentality is something that I absolutely want to, if we can avoid him having. So yeah, today we've talked a lot about my kid. So there we go. I'm going to try it and acquire him that printer before it goes away. Just need to figure out where we are going to put it, because it's obviously, with it being self-contained, it is a fairly hefty unit. But we could do stuff with it. I could turn him into a transformer. That would be quite cool. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to crack on back with work, and hopefully I'm going to get out of the house tonight. I'm having to do more work than I thought I was going to, because it seems like things hadn't been done that I asked to be done while I was off. So who knew? Frying pan fiery. Right, I will see you on the morrow. Have a good one. See ya.